so as promised, I'm back with another video. Like I told you guys, since the last video I was extended an interview to St. George's University. So obviously now I've actually had that interview, and so I kind of want to talk about what my interview experience with them was like. Because as we all know, all Caribbean schools are not the same, and so I want to be as open and provide as much information about each of the schools that I can. And so for St. George's application process, it was much like Ross. You can use ACOMAS or AMCAS if you have applied to U.S. schools. If you haven't, they have an application on their website, which again, I didn't apply to any American schools, so I just used the application on their site. Unlike Ross, St. George's waited until they got all of my documentation, so all of my official transcripts. They needed at least 2 letters of recommendation, and so they waited until they got all of that before they extended me an interview. Whereas Ross took my unofficials until the officials arrived, and that's how they were able to offer me an interview so quickly compared to St. George's. And honestly, I'm okay with that because, if everything doesn't check out, then they kind of offer you an interview for nothing. And so I guess they want to make sure everything is lined up before they submit it to the admissions committee. So it makes perfect sense. Once I was extended the interview, I was sent an email with information about the person that would be interviewing me. I got the person's name and the person's email, and I was told to contact that person to schedule my own interview. And so that was a little bit different than the last one. So I reached out to him to find out what his availability was. It was a little bit limited because the interviewer was a graduate himself and he was in residency. And so he was studying for exams, and so he was pretty busy and his time was limited. With that being said, the interview ended up being on a Saturday, which is a little difficult for me because, as I mentioned before, I have 2 little kids, and so it's kind of hard to have the house quiet enough for an interview on the weekend. So what I did was I just went to a friend's house really early. They don't get up until a little bit later in the day, so I just kind of took over their living room to get my interview done. And it wasn't too much of a problem, but everybody doesn't have that available to them to go to someone else's house. So I found that to be like sort of a challenge with them. The interview was a lot more relaxed. Honestly, it was a little bit more relaxed than what I expected. And like I said, it was conducted by a graduate of the school. They didn't ask any clinical scenario questions. Majority of the questions were basic resume or about yourself, or just, general interview questions. The interviewer was very, very honest about the school, and I found that to be a really good pro about the person interviewing me. It was nice to have a different perspective versus someone who works for the school, or someone that's on the admissions committee, or an admissions counselor. It was an actual student that has went through the process that you're trying to go through, so the perspective was nice. He was able to, I feel like, provide me more insight about certain questions that the admissions counselor may not have been able to. And it's not to say that they were not able to, but I just feel that it gave me a different perspective, so I was excited about that. He had information on the best way to prep for USMLE outside of what the school provides. And so, like I said, I just enjoyed it. The other thing is they use Skype to actually conduct the interview. Whereas Ross, there was an actual platform from the school that was used to conduct the interview. And it didn't bother me to do Skype because I was actually able to contact the person before the time of the interview just to confirm and say, hey, are you here? Am I connected to the right person? So it gave me a little bit more comfort when it was time to do the interview. Overall, I got a lot out of the interview. I probably talked way more than the interview was expecting. It just so happened that he had kind of came from the same background as me with environmental health and science, and he actually did the master's, the MPH program at St. George's, and I was kind of interested in it, but I already have a master's in environmental policy, and so I think that's enough for me. So we talked a lot about that and kind of how we both ended up where we are now. The interviewer gave me a lot of tips to be successful at SGU. There are a lot of things that you need to know and things that you need to do to be successful in medical school in general. But each school is different, and some things are specific to that school. And so he gave me a lot of good advice, especially when it came to properly using their resources to get you through school. The interview was really relaxed. I can't say if this is the norm for them or if it was just due to COVID. I've seen people comment before and say that the interviews are relaxed. Some people say their interviews are difficult. Of course, it just depends on the person interviewing you because, again, I think they normally do use graduates of the school. And so everybody is different, so their interview style is going to be different. Versus, you know, if it was an admissions counselor, they kind of have a general style that they follow. The interview was shorter. This interview was about 45 minutes, whereas my other interview was an hour and 15 minutes. Pretty much, once we were done, he told me what would go on next. And actually today, I did receive confirmation that my interview review was received by the admissions counselor. So with that being said, she said that she will forward it to the admissions committee, and for them it takes about 3 to 4 weeks to get a decision back, which is an extremely short amount of time compared to US schools. So I'm excited about that. Ross actually states 7 to 10 days, so theirs is even quicker. Again, it's no rush. I'm being patient. School doesn't start until August for St. George's, and it starts in September for Ross. So I'm patient. I'm confident. I think I did well in my interview. Like I said before, I've interviewed a lot in the past few years, so I'm pretty confident about it. I'm pretty confident about my background and my knowledge, and I think I did well on both, but it's only one way to tell. So I'm just sitting here kind of waiting on the decision. In the meantime, for my summer, I just plan on finding me a decent job, something that doesn't keep me from the kids too much, but something that just will allow me to save, because I know once school starts, it's going to be full-time, full throttle, and I need to go in and do my very best, my absolute best, which is going to require all of my attention. So with that being said, I do not think that I'll be able to have a part-time job, and so my goal for this summer is to just get fit, get in shape, get into some type of routine, prepare myself as much as I can mentally, physically, spend as much time with my kids as I can, because I know that I am going to be a little bit absent in their lives once school starts, but it's all for the betterment of me and for us. And so, you know, I hope they can forgive me for that. I'm just going to work. I'm going to save so that money is the least of my worries when school starts. I feel like that's a really big thing, to just try and clear your plate as much as you can. I'm used to walking around with a really full plate. I'm used to having a lot of things going on at once. And I know life still happens, but if there are some things that you can kind of clear off of your plate, I suggest doing so. No, I have not started medical school yet, but just going to school in general, starting with a full load, a full plate, a lot going on in your life is not the best mindset to be in. So my goal now is to just build my YouTube channel, constantly create content for you guys to see, get better at my makeup. I have not really been doing my makeup for the past few years. When you have kids, and especially 2 kids under the age of 2, it really consumes you. But I'm at the point where there's no more excuses for myself, and all of the things that I want to accomplish and I want to see happen, I am going to make that happen by any means necessary. So I will be working on my YouTube. I will be working on my makeup. I will be working on my fitness. And honestly, anything else that's going to bring positivity, peace, and I just want to see great things happen for me and the people around me. And so that's all I have for you guys. Make sure you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share. Also, comment and let me know if you like this look. Of course, I did a makeup tutorial for it, so that'll be up soon. And I guess I'll see you guys next time.